Good day. This is Maureen Hashi, psychic medium intuitive healer. And it's been a while since I posted a video. And mainly because I'm very sensitive to energy. So sometimes electronics, don't agree with me or work with me because of the frequency that I operate in as a healer and a medium. I'm kind of out there in a different way. So what I wanted to talk about today is there are a lot of people waking up right now, and a lot of people have questions that they can't find the answers to. And it's very interesting because, like many of us, we have all taken workshops and courses and teach workshops and courses. And even having said that, there's a lot of information that you kind of just grow into as a medium or a healer or a psychic. You kind of have to find your own rhythm and groove to working with the angels that you're going to be working with, or your guides, or whatever your gifts entail. But there is sort of a learning curve that can discourage people from wanting to move forward because there is some setbacks and dangers in just the lack of knowledge of what you're working with that discourages people from continuing to explore their gifts. And not everybody is born into a family of mediums or psychics or healers that can go, oh, okay, this is normal or this isn't normal, and how do you work through that and keep it all in the light? It is a craft to keep it in the light, and I'm not talking about witchcraft, because I definitely don't practice anything like that. I keep everything in alignment with God and the angels. Although there are some people, which we won't get into, that think that what I do is very not of God, or what have you. Anyway, I'm not concerned about any of that. What I will say is a lot of people ask me these questions. How do I tune into my gifts, and what do I do now? I'm so excited, And the thing is a part of the beauty of your journey is discovery. Learning about your gifts, really digging in. And how you do that is you start with simple meditations. Listen, meditation is really about being in the moment, being present, shutting out the outside world, and tuning into God, tuning into your breath, being in the moment, and just being still and quiet to release the things that don't serve you, like harsh conversations, lower thoughts that bring you down, that don't serve you, so on and so forth. So the purpose of meditation is just finding your inner peace, to ground yourself so that you can receive clear messages from your guides and angels, or God, or whomever. And that is something that took me a while to really get into a practice of meditation. Now, whenever I have moments of extreme stress, or feeling like a fish out of water, or whatever it is, I go to meditation because I need to regroup, because the perspective that I'm getting in the moment isn't a grounded one. It's not balanced, and you can be swept away by your emotions. So you really want to step out of that practice of emotionally responding to things, and finding a space that you can connect to of love and groundedness to approach any situation where you can see all sides and all perspectives, because sometimes we're wrong, sometimes we're right, and sometimes nobody's right, and sometimes nobody's wrong. So it's really finding the balance within that. And so if you want to experience your gifts more, first of all, what are they? You have to discover that for yourself. Am I clairvoyant? What does that mean? Am I intuitive? What does that mean? So for me, I'm very clairvoyant. So I get instant downloads. I'm also very feeling. So When people have passed on, I sort of step into their bodies and experience it on a first-hand basis of having a heart attack, dying of cancer, having Alzheimer's, and the list goes on and on and on. So it's not going to be like that for everybody. Every medium, every intuitive person is different. Some like to draw their experiences. Some like to write it out. Some like to be prepared the day before, which, by the way, was very interesting. When I was younger, I always got messages the day before. I still do get messages in advance, sometimes years in advance. Which is really fun when you're working on documentaries and that sort of thing, that you're well advanced and you're in a location and people are like, what the hell are you talking about? Nothing fits. And then discovery comes and they're like, oh, this is what she meant, because it was like further on. Anyway, so you're going to experience all sorts of things. And how you tune in is going to be different than everyone else. So you can't be like me and you can't be like every other medium. Be like you, figure out how you tune in, what your gifts are, and what they mean for you. Also, you don't have to do professional readings. Listen, there is a call and a need for people that are gifted, that are in tune, to be in earthbound jobs, to assist humanity on keeping the vibrational levels high. So we need doctors who are in tune. We need lawyers who are in tune. We need police officers. We need, politicians. We need more light workers right where they are. So you don't always have to, do readings to be of service. You can be of service right in your community every day. So the other thing is, people want more experiences. Oh, I'm so excited. I want to feel all the things. I want to do all the things, which is lovely. But it really starts with self-discovery, what your gifts are, how do you implement them into your life, and finding that place of balance and groundedness, because I find a lot of new spiritual people and sometimes old spiritual people get stuck in a way of superiority to other people. Hey, we're human. We're doing all the same things everyone else is. And so there's no place for ego. The other thing is remembering that there is enough to go around. The right people are going to find you. Who resonates with your energy is going to be drawn into your experience. So you don't have to worry about where they're going to come from, what they're going to look like, or what you're going to say. If you are being authentic, it's going to find you in the right moment, and don't worry, it always comes along. So if you want more experiences, spend time practicing your gifts. If you're a medium, ask your guides and angels to assist you. This is the other point I want to talk about, which is sort of sliding into protection. For me personally, I do not call on the dead. Why? Wow. What kind of medium doesn't call on the dead? Well, it's been my experience that I ask my guides and angels to escort people in if they have a message. Listen, they always show up at the right moment for the right people. And sometimes, very rarely, that they do not. And that's because, we can't expect the deceased to hang around, to just be at our beck and call. Also, when you're calling in the deceased, you have opened the door to the other world. So what you're getting may not be the right person. It might be a spirit that is a trickster, that likes to pretend to be other people. And once you've welcomed them in, then you have a whole other ball game of spirits wreaking havoc and playing games and feeding off your energy, and hauntings and possessions and all sorts of things. So do not call on the dead. When we do seances, when we do Ouija boards, when we do what are those, spirit boxes, you are opening the door to the other world. You're welcoming in from the spirit world a whole gamut. So if you are not an experienced medium and do not know how to manage and keep the light high by keeping your light body, clear of toxins, keeping your soul, your thoughts, all the things, body, mind, and spirit connection. If you're not working on yourself every day, then you have welcomed in a whole gamut of things that you can't possibly get rid of. And this causes people to shut down their gifts and stop being of service, because it can be very scary and frightening. So you want to make sure that you're experienced, that you're knowledgeable, and practice makes perfect, but be very cautious, be very careful with this sort of activity. Listen, you're gonna get the messages, you're gonna have the experiences, you're gonna tune in, but you first got to work through your human ways of doing things. You've spent a lifetime to get to this point. So some are young, some are in their 20s, some are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on. So you have to work through all of that perspective that you learned up to this point and really reteach your values, your ethics, what's really important to you changes as you evolve spiritually. So it's kind of working through all the lies and the misconceptions that you've been taught, because people didn't know any better. And so you really learn from a limited perspective. And you kind of have to release what doesn't work for you anymore, keep what does, and so on and so forth. So then the next step is like really protection. You have to protect your space. People ask me all the time, why should I clear my house? Well, let's see. You've been playing with dead people. And sometimes, they don't have a high moral fiber. So for example, myself, I do true crime documentaries, and so part of that is working with murderous spirits. And let me tell you, they can wreak havoc on your life, just like sitting down with a madman. Just because they're in spirit form doesn't mean that they still don't resonate with the same moral fiber they had in this lifetime. So that's why sometimes when spirits come through, it's scary, or you feel uneasy or unsafe. Funny. As soon as I started talking about the murderers, my throat's like, blah. Because it's true. They come in and they wreak havoc, and you work through it. Even experienced mediums. Listen, I get taken down sometimes. I get taken down for sure. And I'm like, shit, I got too comfortable. I didn't smudge. I didn't protect myself. You can't leave yourself wide open. So before you do any channeling session, before you do any EVP, ghost box, seance, card readings, which I don't recommend doing those things. But if you really want to do those things, it's your journey, it's your experience. Just make sure you know how to keep it in the light. But you need to protect yourself. So zip up after, zip up before, pull in your aura, claim your space, make a directive. May nothing negative come in and nothing negative go out. Only high vibrations live here. Call on God and the angels to keep your space sacred and safe, and make sure that you're in alignment with what your moral fiber is. And let me tell you, you don't want to spend too much time with the dead people, because it is a different kind of energy and it does pull you down. And so again, you have to really be working on your light body through body, mind, and spirit. So movement, exercise, what you eat, how you think, and how you spend your time are all crucial to growing and expanding your awareness. So the other thing is clearing your space. I like to smudge. Some people say, oh, you shouldn't burn. Listen, find what works for you. I do burn some things. I do make sure that they're ethical. I trust the energy that I get, that my guides say, okay, you need to do this, burn some copal, which is a resin, burn, some essential oils, put them in a diffuser, whatever I feel like in the moment, that's what I do. And so it does change for me. Sometimes it's like, okay, I need to do Palo Santo. I need to do, which is a holy wood. It's sacred. And the smell is beyond explanation. It's so beautiful. And the energy is very powerful. Sometimes it's incense, sometimes, it's whatever. So there's a lot of perspectives out there, so many perspectives. It's all quite draining. Everybody wants to be right or feel that they're right, and that's okay. Take what fits and resonates for you. So if anything I say doesn't fit for you, find what fits for you. This is just my experiences that I like to share with people. And because I really care about your spiritual awareness and your spiritual development, and above all, your protection. I want you to succeed. I want you to grow and flourish your gifts right where you're at. And so these are some of the things that I know have worked for me. So meditation, being mindful of what I consume. It's really fun to go to the grocery store and ask your body, because your body will talk to you all the time. It's a very highly intuitive machine that you're working with, and you can say, what do you need? You'll be drawn to certain things. Sometimes I'm all plant-based. Sometimes I incorporate animal products. If my body craves meat, I eat meat. Does it always agree with me? No, because sometimes how the animal was treated in this lifetime will come through, because I'm very empathic. So I feel how the animal died, which is the main reason why I don't like to eat a lot of meat, because I feel too much. It also bogs me down. It's very dense. So if I'm too far out there and floating around, then I eat something that grounds me for sure. But it brings me joy to eat live food, so fruits and vegetables, to make smoothies, that sort of thing. Exercise is really important too, because what happens is it moves stuck energy. So when you're forcing your body, because our bodies are made of energy, it moves things out for you. It clears things up. It also has a chemical reaction that releases, the same serotonins in your brain that you need for happiness, joy, and releasing depression and darkness. So it all works together for your enlightenment. And so, figure out what your body needs and do that. You also need to set up rules and boundaries for spirits. Okay, sounds funny, but I have a rule: not in the bedroom. Don't watch me sleep. I don't want to wake up to have some spirit standing at the end of my bed going, hey, can you tell my mom, or can you reach out to my kid? Or listen, make an appointment. Don't come into my room. Don't watch me sleep. Don't be creepy. I've had creepy spirits throughout my lifetime. And I've learned, I bless my room. I do a little thing, my grandmother used to talk about cinnamon. So I sprinkle cinnamon over my doorstep, over my windows, and some might say, oh, that's so kooky. Why are you doing that? Well, it works, my mom said to burn white candles. I burn white candles because it works. So I do smudge my doorstep. I try to do this, often. I also use tuning forks and other instruments that are tuned to high frequencies to shift energy. And I can tell you from experience that it shifts energy instantly, because whatever's attached to you may not be resonating with that high frequency. I like Jonathan Goldman's tuning forks. I like his energy. It resonates with me, but you can find other people that resonate with you. The other thing is, I say not in the bathroom. Listen, I do stuff in there. Sometimes I don't have clothes on, so I don't want to turn around and have a spirit watching me shower. Get out. So not in the bedroom, not in the bathroom. And then I also set hours. These are my office hours. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. I like weekends off. Don't bug me. And for the most part, they really respect that. I have had, spirits that don't. Either they're new or they're just jerks. And so, you have to set boundaries for them too. And when you let your guard down and when you get lazy is when they come and wreak havoc. So always being mindful to keep your spirits high, to keep your house is your sanctuary. So whether it's your bedroom, your bathroom, wherever that you like to have a safe, sacred space, create a sacred space for yourself where you can meditate, where you can tune out, however you meditate, whether you pray to God, whether, I do both. I meditate, I pray, I do all the things because that's my belief system. And it really works for me. When you come into my home, you just feel a sense of peace and calmness. When you're around me, you also feel that. And so hopefully watching this video, you've also felt relaxed. You may feel love, joy, excitement, all these things, because this is the energy that I work with. Because I want people to feel empowered, a sense of love, groundedness, peace, calm. And I really want people to wake up and experience their gifts on such a profound level that it's life-changing. So these are just some of the things that you can do. There's so many different ways to smudge your house. There's so many different kinds of bundles you can get to smudge your house. What I always recommend is go to the store, go to a spiritual store, go to a native supply store, wherever you get your stuff from, wherever is speaking to you. And see what calls to you. Sometimes the sage bundle or the cedar bundle or whatever speaks to you, and it's what is going to work for you. So do that. Also, people ask me all the time about crystals. I don't pretend to know all the crystals. I get a crystal and I often gift a crystal, so however the crystal finds me, I tend to keep them until I think someone else needs them. So how I pick my crystals is exactly the same way I pick my food, I pick my experiences, and I pick my sage bundles, and I pick the crystals exactly the same way. What do I need? And I'll go to a store, and then I pick up something that I'm drawn to, and I hold it and I see if it resonates with me. Sometimes it heats up, it vibrates, and then I look up the meaning, and it's always exactly what I need in the moment. And anything of the earth, there's sacred spaces all around the earth, and I believe that crystals do hold sacred energy. So if crystals aren't your thing, don't worry about it. Don't use them. You don't have to. I find that herbs, living things, hold a vibration. They've been for years healing people physically, mentally, and spiritually. And so I also work with herbs. Another fun thing I do is I take herbs. Sometimes if my house is really dense and I can't change the energy and there's just so much funk, I take lavender, sage, rose petals, sometimes bay leaves, whatever I'm called to in the moment, and I put it in a big pot and I boil it, and then I take the liquid and I strain it. I'll add a couple drops of essential oil and I clean my house. I mop my floors, I touch every surface with it. Sometimes if it's really bad, I don't strain it. I leave all the petals and remnants of the herbs and I let the floor dry, and then I sweep it all out the door. And so all of the negative energy can be absorbed into the herbs and out the door, and it uplifts your soul, your spirit, your house. It's beautiful, and your house smells wonderful too. So that's what I do. And then boundaries. I even go outside and protect my property. I've had negative people that won't even come up to my door. And I used to have this one homeless guy that would go up and down the street, and he made me nervous. So, because he was always like up in the property and doing stuff, and so what I did is I went to the perimeter all around the front of my house, the sidewalk, and of course people are looking at me like, what is she doing out there dinging my tuning forks and smudging and just doing my thing, because it's important to me and that's how I feel safe. And then I put some sacred salts. I do often find sacred salts from Hawaii, from other places. I really like the black salts from there, and I mix it with white salts and herbs, and I just sprinkle it lightly causing a perimeter. Now you want to make sure that you've already done the interior of your property. Otherwise, you're just going to have spirits banging around in there and not being able to get out and wondering why your property is still funky. So make sure you've cleaned the interior, and then you can do the perimeter and the exterior of your home. And you'll know when the energy shifts because you feel it. So how often you do it is up to you. I do mine because of the nature of my work, because I'm a medium. I'm always, and this is what I do for a living, I always have some sort of dead person coming and going. I have criminals coming and going energetically because of what I do. So you want to make sure that you don't entertain them and you don't lock them in your house. And that's the other thing. People always forget to open a door, open a window. Listen, you can smudge all you want, but if you're not letting them escape, then they're still trapped. So you want to change the energy, open a door, open a window, and sometimes I escort them out. Like if I'm woken up by a spirit harassing me, I will go to my front door, I will open it, and I will say, get out. You're not welcome here. Out you go. I don't ask questions. Who cares about why all the time? People get stuck on why. Why are they here? What did they want? Who gives a crap? Get the fuck out of my house. Sorry for the F-bomb, but that's how I roll. So, it's not always important to figure out the who's, the whys, and how comes, because if you're truly meant to know why that spirit's there, you're gonna know. It's like an instant knowing. Okay, the spirit's here. They're connected to this person. I've also told the spirit to bring me your living. If you really have such a powerful message for me, bring me your living. And 9 times out of 10, they always do. If it's just a passerby, I don't hear from either again. So that being said, have fun with your spiritual journey. Enjoy the process, but be wise and be smart. And if you don't know, ask. Ask somebody who does know, and hopefully other mediums are willing to share their experiences. And I always believe that there's a time and space for charging. I also believe that people shouldn't take advantage of other people. So if for you to go to someone and always expect a gift, or always ask and never give back in some way, you also need to keep the balance. And I say that because there are tons of people that are psychic junkies that take advantage of kind-hearted people, because I don't know of any psychic that's not kind-hearted and doesn't want to do good for the people around them. So that being said, respect one another, be kind, be loving, and enjoy the process. So for now, have fun. See you later. Tuning out.